Kalispedli. Sinquedli. Skedli.
It's a language born in these mountains,
Studli.
sacred to the Kalispel tribe of northeastern Washington.
We live in the mountains, along the rivers, we hunt and fish. That's our way.
Their language, a dialect called Salish, ties their past to the present.
The easy connection of the world, being connected to the ground, being connected to our ancestors. And language can do that. It gives you that identity.
An identity that could have been lost forever.
We have 4 elders that have the language, and they're it. And so we have to move.
Each day, J.R. Bluff works to keep his heritage alive.
Tempton's Quest's ownership. We believe we are backed into the corner. We believe we don't have tomorrow. It has to happen today.
So he started an immersion school to pass that language down to the next generation. All of the lessons are in Salish. Students who opt into the daily program come to the Salish school after a few hours at the public school across the street. And learning extends far past the Common Core education standards.
The language is healing. It filled a void that I didn't know I had. When the kids have a strong foundation and know who they are and where they come from, that they'll be more successful.
Just when JR saw his language growing strong through his students, the pandemic threatened to take it all away.
Our strength is relationship. You need to be in the seat with me.
It's not the same as being face to face. We lose time and we lose language.
To make sure that doesn't happen, the school's teachers are creating Salish lessons online, something they've never done before.
We're gonna figure it out. I don't know, we have to figure it out.
It'll take that extra effort in a place where Wi-Fi is not reliable and instruction is best done in person.
It's a sacred breath. You're not just hearing words, you are actually with me and you're hearing my breath. That's the strength of our language.
While the future of this classroom is left uncertain, the future of this culture is something JR says he will protect his entire life.
Our language has had so many bumps in its 1,000-year history. This is just another bump. It's real in that it affects our community, affects our household, affects our children, affects my teachers, but I know it will pass.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liaco. It's the time of year to bundle up.
What do you think, Emma? Do you think that's a good one?
Pick out a tree.
Go ahead, you start cutting it down.
And make time for tradition.
Get it! Are you scared? You're okay.
Because despite the year of struggle, there are moments worth celebrating.
Look at that. Say good job, Daddy.
Good job, Dad.
And in some places, life almost seems normal.
Everything has been canceled or changed, or you can't do this or you can't do this. The nice thing about our trees here is they're planted at 6 feet apart, coincidentally.
The Piper Mountain Christmas Tree Farm didn't plan for the pandemic.
We got 30 acres of trees up here.
But they're hoping families can find a small escape when they visit.
People can spread out, find their trees, stay safe, and enjoy that kind of time together with their family, which is so important, I think, and particularly in a time like this.
After retiring from the Navy, Mac McCullen and his wife Ann took over the farm.
Favorite part of running the farm is quite honestly just being outside.
It's a joy the McCullens were terrified of losing because of COVID-19.
We weren't sure that people were going to show up. We were very pleased our first weekend to have probably better than normal weekend, and it's kind of continued to be that way. Even our weekdays, which are typically pretty slow, 2 or 3 people here and there, have been fairly steady.
And it's not just at this farm. Demand for Christmas trees is skyrocketing all across the country. So much so that some farms are even seeing shortages. But thankfully at this farm, there was no shortage of trees or families coming to pick them out.
I think it's a better idea, especially after this year, to support the local businesses.
This is probably one of the best things we enjoy to do, to stay together.
I haven't been
to get a tree anywhere else since I've been born.
These simple moments
You ready, Miss Kaylee?
are making sure the McCullens' legacy can live on.
It's a huge relief because not only do we have, to deal with COVID, but we're a seasonal business. People don't buy Christmas trees year round. So all of our sales happen in the months of November and December. So if people didn't show up, oh my gosh, we really would have a hard time surviving. I'm sorry, I get a little emotional about it because it's like, it's just us. For my wife and I, we don't have children. So our workers, the people that are here with us, support us, are our family. That's the emotional piece of it. Just being able to be, in something together and to be able to create, things that we know people enjoy.
For those close enough to visit, taking home a Piper Mountain tree is a tradition they won't miss.
Let's bring it around, we'll shake it out. You gotta rotate it.
We love a real Christmas tree. There's nothing like it, and it always feels like home to come here and get a tree.
This year would be in memory of my mom, Gayla. She used to love to come here, and actually she's the main reason why we keep coming here. We lost her about 3 years ago, and it's the only way to kind of, keep her memory with us, really, because Christmas was her favorite time of year.
And for more families than ever, this reminder of happiness, no matter how big or small, is one way to bring the joy of Christmas past into the present. For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.
I have farmed in the area since '83.
Kent Dunn and his sons spend their days preparing for harvest.
To have everybody in the same field and, be able to visit, tease a little bit, and just all be together is kind of a neat time.
It's a family tradition they're fighting to preserve.
Like the grandkids to be able to farm if they want to.
But the Dunn's legacy and the crops they grow rely on the one thing in short supply here in southwest Kansas.
If we don't conserve the aquifer, it'll be something that, eventually just disappears.
All the fields across the region pump water from deep in the ground, out of a natural source that's quickly running dry.
Usually 1 to 2 inches a year is about all the replenishment that the state gives us credit for, so. Not very much, no. So not when we're pumping 18 to 20 inches out.
In an effort to save water, the Dunns have stopped growing as much corn, which requires a lot more water, and have started growing more crops like milo. They're much more drought tolerant. That's because their fields sit on top of the Ogallala Aquifer. It's 174,000 square miles of fresh water underground that stretches from South Dakota all the way to northwest Texas. It supplies the water for more than 1/4 of all the irrigated crops in the United States. And for 4 out of 5 people living above the aquifer, that's their drinking water.
It is a finite resource, and to me, it's not a race to the bottom.
That's why Kent and other farmers are changing what they grow, getting sprinklers that save the most water, and only pumping from the aquifer if they have to.
We pay attention to the rain. If we get 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain, we're more than happy to shut them off.
On a larger scale, the county is looking to find a long-term solution to replenish the aquifer for generations to come.
Water is needed to keep food prices down, quality up, and to meet the market demands across the globe. So it's really a key concern for everyone.
Mark Rude drove almost 400 miles to fill a truck with flood water from the Missouri River to dump into the dry riverbed in southwest Kansas.
We released the water. It went tens of feet flowing downriver, but very quickly, in a matter of about 10 minutes, completely soaked in, 6,000 gallons.
Just a drop in the aquifer's bucket, but showing that one day, if a system was built, the agriculture in the region could be saved.
We have to start with a few steps. So ultimately, pipelines, we're even looking at shipping by rail.
Because something must be done now to save the farms, the crops, and the livelihoods of tomorrow.
If we don't pay attention today and don't take care of it, it will be gone, and it'll be like an extinct animal. You can't bring it back.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.